I want to talk about self-reflecting on the past few years and dealing with the issues that I still have because of this woman who stalked us and her husband. It wasn't just her, it was her husband also, causing so much destruction in my life and my son's life that it's just astronomical. I'm going to start by talking about the fact that at first we didn't know that she was behaving in this fashion towards us, because I'm not somebody who focuses on other people like that. I try my best to just focus on my life and what I've got going on. However, this situation got so out of control with this woman, and it's really sad too, because the woman is she was so focused on what we were doing, she wasn't handling her own business. She was running around, cheating on her husband, getting into people's Facebooks. He couldn't even get 5 minutes worth of peace, from my understanding. This is what I was told. Her brother-in-law, who's his brother, even came back and told me, he was like, Tina, you just don't understand. They went out to just go have a guy's night out, and all of a sudden, they're riding around, and all of a sudden, bam, there she was, stalking right behind them. She wouldn't give her husband a moment's worth of peace. Anyway, she was going into my Facebook, running around behind people that I worked with, lying on me, going on Facebook and committing defamation. All this stuff was going on. Meanwhile, her kids are running rampant, out of control. She was sleeping she was sleeping with other people in her husband's face. I mean, it was ridiculous. My point here is this with the situation. We did what we were supposed to do. I went to court and attempted to get a restraining order. Rather than give us a restraining order, this delusional woman fabricated the situation to the judge, and he gave her a chance. He got mad at me after this narcissistic lunatic lied to him. I mean, to the point where it was just absolutely absurd. I couldn't believe it. So, I was devastated because we did everything the court told us to do, to the point where it made me even uncomfortable dealing with the people in the court, because this woman saw to it that she was there ahead of us. Lying, manipulating, and fabricating evidence, all of this. Anyhow, it came to the point I'd had enough. And so we decided, after the judge told us that we were in the wrong, even though this girl and her husband had a history. Her husband was the one who caused my head injury because he was sleeping with minors, and she was too. I'm not trying to be mean or nothing. It's just the truth. It's the facts. He got mad at us when I told him the woman was running up and down our road like a crazy lunatic. And he tried to make excuse after excuse after excuse for this woman, not caring that we were serious victims and that the damage this woman and her husband had done to us and our family was astronomical, to the point where my adopted father, he had my oldest child, my oldest daughter. I had my oldest child, but he had my oldest daughter. They felt like they had to leave town. They had to leave our home, leave town, and go into hiding because this woman just would not stop. And people don't understand. My adopted father, he's worked with law enforcement. He's a vet. He's at the end of it, he worked for animal control. Anyways, to get to the point, even after that, she just would not stop. She kept going after us, lying on us, manipulating people, doing all this psychotic behavior because of her. Not me, because I still didn't give the woman the time of day. Why should I? She wasn't worth it to me. Because of her husband, I didn't have my daughter in the first place, and I'm not trying to make a relationship with somebody like that. I forgive her. However, the abuse and the just flat out defamation, along with her manipulation, it has been out of control to the point where it affects me to this day. We still see stuff that makes me wonder if this girl has her hands on what's going on in our lives. to the point where I feel like I just can't be around anybody. We don't do anything. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't even smoke cigarettes anymore. I stopped all of that. I said, okay, since what happened with my daughter happened after I reported the abuse, I reported the stalking, and we actually did what the court told us to do. They gave us a little handout that said, if you feel like you're being stalked, take different routes, stop and pull over so you can check and see if somebody's following you. If you feel like you're being followed, either contact authority or steps you need to take in order to try to make the situation stop. Well, it still hasn't, and to this day it affects us. We left town. We moved out of town and went to another county, and I still have to feel like this girl is running behind us. To the point where I don't talk to too much of anybody. I keep to myself. Anytime I see anything or anybody that's like out of the normal, I run from them because of the way this girl and her husband did me and my family. She destroyed us so badly. I can't even see my daughter. And she had the court award my child to people I don't even know, lying, claiming that they had a relationship with us too. These people are delusional. There's something wrong with them mentally. To me, it's kidnapping. They use the court to lie, defame my character, and kidnap my kids. This is serious business, and it's one of the reasons that people looted and rioted last summer. My point here is this. So now, anybody who even tries to be nice to me, I'm like, it scares the crap out of me because I have to wonder what their ulterior motive is. Because of how badly this girl and her husband went after me and my kids, including manipulating, lying, and committing defamation within the court, and with regards to people who claimed to be my family, who really are not. I don't know Robbie and Emily Dole, and for them to behave the way they have towards me and my son, it's absolutely ridiculous, and I refuse to deal with them. I absolutely refuse to deal with them because they lied and manipulated the court themselves, which makes me wonder what their motives are. Anyway, my point here is this. We have a situation with somebody at the camp who's starting to behave in a fashion that makes me feel like she's connected herself either with this girl or she's just mimicking her. To the point where I had to say, whoa, and step back because I'm noticing that there's a group of people at the campsite who were literally destroying these people's business because, and I took it personally. I thought it was all, it was about us, and maybe it's just not. These people, there's something wrong with them to do some of the types of stuff that they're doing, and it made me feel like it was a personal attack towards me. Because they keep doing stuff that triggered me with regards to my memory with this girl and stuff that she has threatened and done to me and my kids. This is the long-term damage of what stalking, harassment, and defamation does. It's terrible to see what these people have done in regards to how it affects me and my kids' life to this day. Here it is years after the fact, and we are still being consequenced because of this woman's poor decision making. She was the one who was sleeping around on her husband. She was getting into my Facebook accounts and making fake relationships in order to fix whatever sadistical things she had going on in her thought process. She makes poor decision after poor decision after poor decision, hurting people, affecting their long-term outcomes of their lives, not stopping to think of what her poor decision making is doing and hurting the people that she claims to the rest of the world that she loves and cares about so much. It's time to stop this type of narcissistic abuse. This woman should have gone to jail a long time ago, especially after she lied to the court when I took her to court in order to get a restraining order. The judge should be ashamed of himself too. He himself made poor decisions with regards to our case, some of which is because I feel that he was trying to cover up some of his own narcissistic behavior. It's abusive. He used the court in order to abuse us even further. For what reason? I don't know, because Judge Dodds is, I don't know him like that. I've never associated with him like that, nor have I associated with Tara Carpenter that way. The more she continues, I will never associate with her. I forgive her, but she has pushed things to the point with her poor decision making that I just will never, ever, ever feel comfortable being around her. And I tried to explain that to the people that were involved in the situation. You cannot force somebody who's been so abusive towards us to reconcile or have a relationship. It's never going to happen. I was right to tell. Somebody said something to me yesterday that triggered me into thinking, well, you know, maybe I should say something about the fact that these people consequenced me and my family by ripping us apart because I told. What's wrong with that picture? When I told about the abuse, instead of helping us, they did everything they could to destroy and hurt us. That's why people are so angry at the system. My son hates the courts. And he hates law enforcement. I don't. I love law enforcement. But he hates law enforcement because he feels like they didn't do their job to begin with. I can't blame him, because I'm sitting here watching what these people did to us in our lives and watching how nasty they behave towards us because we did what they told us to do when we were being abused. Rather than help us, they treated us like we were criminals. And they consequenced us over and over and over again. They refused to listen to our side of the story. They didn't care how bad these people were hurting us or how big the lies that they were telling were. This is a problem that needs to be fixed. They're wrong for what they did to me and my family. It's a disgrace to see the state of Michigan behave with such bad judgment. They've made poor decision after poor decision after poor decision with regards to our case, not stopping to think that we are actually the victims, especially when you sit back and look at the paperwork and the documentation. It's a mess that needs to be cleaned up. These people who have controlled us, I take the power away from them whenever I talk about what they did, because it exposes them. We are not the ones who made the bad decisions. When are they going to face this and take responsibility for their poor decision making and fix it? Because you've got all these people that are standing back watching what's going on to us, and they're shaking their head going, "Are you kidding me?" It's horrific. Where does it end? And Tara, you should have never told my son he needed to worry about Big Bubba and not dropping the soap. You should be ashamed of yourself and your poor decision making. With God's love, God bless America. Have a blessed day. And back the bads.